Hello everyone, I'm Jorisar bringing you the battle report for Day 7 of OGN's APEX Season 2. Today we saw two matches, both Korean teams versus international teams, where we had BK Stars take on the mighty EnVyUs and Afreeca Freecs Red squaring up against Misfits. Let's see how the matches played out. Our first match started on the pole, where the dive composition of BK Stars clashed with the mobile brawler heroes of Envy on Village, and both teams were able to build control percentage over the first few fights. Ultimates began to come online for both teams, and combos and counters left Envy in control of the point. That didn't last long, however, as Carpe on Genji cut into Chips on Ana and flipped the point right back into BK's control, winning them the first submap. EnVyUs got the first capture on Shrine and built control percentage all the way to 60% and then some during an extended second team fight. This ultimately led to just one chance for BK to get on the point. That chance was cut short via Mickie's Graviton Surge, followed by a Death Blossom from HarryHook, tying the score 1-1. Envy started strong on the final point and carried the momentum into Sanctum, securing the point early and mounting defensive picks and aggression. This kept BK constantly regrouping and they couldn't threaten the control. Carpe finally got some room to work with and sharp shot for a couple of clutch kills in overtime to get BK back into the game and take the point. Envy reclaimed shortly afterwards by rushing into the defenders with Mickie's Graviton and followed up with a whole-hogging Taimou nano-boosted by Chips. Envy therefore won Nepal 2-1 and became the first Western team to win a control point map in Season 2 of APEX. BK Stars started out on defense on King's Row, and Carpe's Genji remained unchecked for far too long. He was able to consistently find the kills and disrupt the Envy attack plans, holding them off long enough to leave them with only 3 minutes to finish the Streets phase. Carpe continued to be the driving force of damage for BK Stars' defense during Streets. Capitalizing on Mickie telegraphing his intentions, he was able to deflect the Graviton of Team EnVyUs back at them and follow up with his own Dragon Blade to kill 3. After capturing the second checkpoint, Envy had little time left in the bank, but that didn't deter Cocco from aggressively engaging with his Earth Shatter. His team was there to follow up, getting 2 crucial kills to set up the last point capture and finish the half. Things looked grim for BK Stars during their offensive turn. Envy's defense was as malleable as it was lethal, constantly adapting and changing the swing of the fight in their favor. Carpe once again put the team on his shoulders and came through big, landing fatal headshots as McCree and earning himself a quad kill and point A. BK Stars went on to disallow Envy any stabilization during Streets, pushing far up with Bunny on Tracer landing a pulse bomb onto HarryHook Soldier, and a high ground Carpe getting a double kill Deadeye while the cart free pushed to the second checkpoint. For the last checkpoint, Taimou surprisingly swapped over to Widowmaker, and the pace of the game changed immediately. The constant pressure and pick kills from his sniper allowed the ground forces of EnVyUs to dominate the cart, and the third point hold was cemented, giving map number 2 to Envy. BK Stars started out on Volskaya Industries on offense and opted to put Carpe on Sombra for an EMP strat that paid off big, when Carpe dove onto the point and landed an EMP onto almost the entirety of the Envy roster. What first appeared to be a questionable ultimate ended up facilitating the capture as his team was able to follow up, especially Bunny, who whole-hogged for kills. They then attempted to run with that momentum and staggered kills to a point B capture. It looked to be working until Cocco charged Bernar off the ledge right before he could Graviton, and HarryHook on the high ground melted BK Stars with a nano visor. However, HarryHook couldn't replicate the heroics a second time during BK Stars' follow-up attacks, and point B did fall to Bernar and company. Taimou started off hot on the Envy assault as Widowmaker. He opened the game with a pick onto Carpe's Soldier, then facilitated multiple kills on point, only to be faced with a 1v1 in a close proximity battle with the respawned Carpe on Genji, which he won with an outstanding flick headshot kill. He continued to kill the Reinhardt on point, assist on Lucio, and another headshot on Ana, while the rest of his team captured point A. Despite the flashy assault and capture, EnVyUs struggled to make any headway onto point B and fell flat until the closing minutes. A last-second hero play from Chips on Ana kept his tanks in the fight long enough to create an opportunity, but Bernar had other ideas. He landed a big graviton while nano boosted and cleared out the Envy attackers to finally put BK Stars on the scoreboard, trailing 1-2. EnVyUs started out Dorado on attack and clinically and uneventfully took the first checkpoint, marching towards the second. The defense of BK Stars appeared shaky and desperate to stabilize, overcommitted some ultimates like Twinkl's sound barrier to try and hold the checkpoint instead of cutting their losses and regrouping. The risks didn't pay off and the second checkpoint fell as BK Stars were left reeling. The defense continued to struggle to simply regroup and stop the bleeding when Taimou picked off Bunny on Tracer with a snappy flick shot from his Widowmaker's rifle. He then followed up with another headshot kill on a respawning Carpe, setting up Envy for their third point assault, during which he claimed a third life on the respawned Bunny who had switched to Genji. All this while the payload was pushing non-stop, which gave Envy the map completion. With their backs against the wall and facing match point, BK Stars struggled to push the payload past the fountain in the Dorado courtyard. They only had a minute left, but a full bank of ultimates allowed Bernar and Bunny to chip away at the defenders on point and push the cart, extending their time bank. Taimou went back onto Widowmaker, this time defensively, and wasted no time letting Bunny know that his kills in the last game weren't a fluke. Bunny jumped him as Tracer yet again, but Taimou got the grapple off and headshot him while falling to rack up even more style points and hype his team up. It took until overtime for BK Stars to get to the second checkpoint, and they just barely managed it by the skin of their teeth at the cost of 3 ultimates. With limited time left, they only got one real chance to tie the score up and force a second round, but their hopes were dashed when they bled out picks before they could engage the defenders properly and combine their remaining ultimates. Envy cleaned the cart and remained undefeated in Season 2 with a final scoreline of 3-1. Afreeca Freecs Red then took on Misfits, also starting on Nepal, where Misfits came out of the gate ready for the dive comp and captured the village point first. They looked to build an early lead, but Tydolla on Genji unleashed the Dragon Blade and quickly killed his way through the Misfits roster, flipping the point and winning the team fight cleanly. The point swapped control between the two teams numerous times, but AF Red were the ones staving off one final assault from Misfits at the end of the round, by successfully utilizing Graviton from Lagerman and thus securing the first submap. After the reset, Misfits again stayed strong and secured the point first, but this time they were able to build up all the way to 80% before Afreeca Freecs could mount an assault that actually yielded results. In a flurry of ultimates, they rushed the point decisively, wiping the Misfits who now just needed to regroup to tie the map score. They were able to do just that, killing off the ult-exhausted roster of Afreeca Red to reclaim the point, and Tviq closed Shrine off, helping to clean up and isolate Navi on Ana to let the overtime timer diminish and force a third submap. For the third time, Misfits had the strongest start, with Mannetens getting a double kill as Roadhog as the point was claimed for the Europeans. The percentage climbed quickly to 80% and then some before Lagerman set up his teammates with the Graviton, and Tydolla again let his presence be known with a potent Dragon Blade, finally getting his team back in the game and in control of the point. Misfits answered right back though and closed out Sanctum with Mannetens' whole hog and Tviq's Nanovisor triple kill, easily reclaiming the point and locking out any respawns from triggering overtime. After a hard-fought Nepal, Misfits go 1-0 up. AF Red's offense didn't take long to apply pressure to the Misfits on King's Row, getting the required initial picks and shutting down an attempted deadeye from Tviq. Lagerman sealed Point A's capture with a Graviton and both teams prepared for Streets phase. Afreeca fought tooth and nail just to get the payload moving through Streets and seemed to struggle to coordinate ultimates and combos without over-investing or missing timings. They faced the defense directly before the second checkpoint, again mismanaged ultimates, and were forced to try and quickly regroup before the time ran out. In a final rush forward, Quatermain popped sound barrier for AF to rush onto the point in an all-out Hail Mary. But Tviq's perfect Maywall refused them access to the payload, and they could only watch their sound barrier fade off, gaining no value. They then fell victim to Reinforce's Earthshatter, and subsequently the payload progress marker was put down just prior to the second checkpoint. Tviq started Misfits' offense on Farah and remained uncontested in the sky, laying down rocket damage during a quick Point A capture. Misfits continued pushing into Streets, nano-boosting Tviq's rocket barrage and forcing the defenders all the way back behind the second checkpoint while being chased by Zebbosai on Zarya, who picked up a double kill for himself. The The cart remained uncontested as it marched towards the goal marker. Zebbosai finally let his graviton loose, keeping the bulk of the defenders away from the cart, followed up by reinforces Earthshatter. All that was left was for Tviq to clean Tydolla's Genji off from contesting the payload, and map number 2 went to the Miami Misfits. On to Temple of Anubis, where Tviq on the defensive soldier created quite the headache for Afreeca Freecs Red. But once they adjusted to the dive comp, Attune on Tracer was able to start picking up kills, and this allowed him not only to get the dominant position for his team, but capture point A. Quatermain and crew continued to struggle to garner any results on point B, and ended up investing Sound Barrier and Graviton in an assault attempt where they had the numbers advantage, thinking it was finally their opportunity. Zave's Resurrect turned the tide though, and Mannetens on Roadhog picked up kill after kill with the help of Zebbosai's Winston, leaving AF Red only a minute left and with limited ultimate economy. In a nail-biting last-moment situation, an extended teamfight left the attackers with just a sliver of control progression away from capturing point B. Fighting constant respawn reinforcements and hell-bent on contesting their capture, Attune on Farah finally earned it for the team and unleashed a barrage wiping out the respawns. Zebbosai started the second half with an almost immediate Widowmaker pick onto Navi's Ana, and followed up with a second headshot kill onto Lucio, leaving the defenders supportless. The point was immediately rushed, resulting in an incredibly fast point A capture. Attune swapped onto a defensive Sombra but got caught out as Reinforce on Winston rushed towards point B, resulting in an early pick capitalized on by Tviq, who joined his team on the point with a Nanoblade, killing 2. That earned the point B capture with over 6 minutes left on the time bank. Misfits now only had to capture point A to close out the map and match, and they again put Zebbosai on the offensive Widow. This time, he had to win the Widowmaker mirror matchup against Attune, but he did just that in the opening moments. With the rest of Misfits now on the point, Tviq managed to pick up a triple kill on Genji without his ultimate to seal the fate of Afreeca Freecs Red. Point A fell to the attackers, and Misfits took the map and match by a scoreline of 3-0. So there you have it, a good day at the office for the international teams, but a very important one for Misfits, who still need to fight to make the playoffs after losing their first match. To watch the next video, click here, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel by clicking here. Thanks for your likes and comments on the video, and I'll see you for day 8. Take care.